This is the Reebok Floatride Energy 5. Is it the best budget running shoe out there? I'll tell you in a moment, but as with any shoe, you are looking for three main things. 1, comfort and fit. 2, durability. And 3, performance. But before we get into those three, let me just give you a few stats about this running shoe. This is a UK size 10.5, so it's USA 11.5. It comes in at 295 grams, which is about 10.5 ounces. And it's got an 8mm drop heel to toe. I don't know if that means anything to you, but to me, every time I put a shoe on, whether it's a 10mm, 8mm, 4mm, I don't notice any difference. But for a lot of people, it could be important. So it's 8mm drop on these Reeboks. So let's go into it in a little bit more detail, looking at those three key points that I mentioned. First of all, comfort and fit. Does it fit well? Well, to this particular shoe, for me, as I say, it's 10.5. My normal size is size 10, so I have half a sized up, but that was down to availability and not whether the shoe would fit or not. I have used Reebok 4s and 3s, and they have always been true to size. So I'm going to say with this, it is probably true to size. It does feel a little bit wider, a little bit more room in it than normal for me, but as I say, I have half sized up due to availability rather than anything else. All that said, it does fit well. It fits comfortably. With the lacing system, I get a nice lockdown. I have had no chafing, no rubbing at all with this particular shoe, and no blisters at all. And we're about 60-70 miles in on the shoe. And if you want to know about my running, if you check me out on Strava, go and do a search for Tony James and click follow, you'll see all my runs on there, all the data in the raw, not altered in any way, shape or form. And you'll also see what shoes I'm using as well. So as I say, I don't just get shoes, review them, put them in a box, leave them outside. They do get used. And about 60 miles into this pair at the moment. I don't know why I got a pair of white shoes at Christmas time, but I've done well to keep them clean over the winter months. So as I say, they do fit nicely. They fit, they lace down, they lock down, no chafing. Padded around the heel counter. Nice padded tongue as well. Not had any slips or anything. Speaking of fit, Reebok, like their cousins Adidas, are using recyclable materials in their uppers. There's 30% recyclable materials in this. They probably could do better, but 30% will take it at the moment. But to me, because of those recycled materials, whilst it is breathable and you can see the gaps in there, which is good, the recyclable stuff does feel a little bit more plasticky than if it was just a normal material upper. So it does feel a little bit stiff when you initially get it, but it seems to be working in and being a bit more flexible now after those 50-60 miles, as I say. But it does have a sort of plasticky feel. But when you take all that into consideration, when you put them on, you lace them up, it does fit well and it is not rubbing or chafing, which is the most important thing. So it is a comfortable fit. And when you're out on the run, that Floatride Energy midsole is providing a lot of comfort. There's a lot of squashiness in there. There's a lot of, you can feel a lot of return from it as well. So I do like the Floatride. It can be a little bit stiff when you initially start out, but it is a nice material and it does give you a nice feel when you're out on the run. There is a torsion plate in there. It's not a carbon plate or anything like that. It's nothing there for performance enhancing. It's a torsion plate, similar to what Adidas use, and I think it's more for stability of the shoe than anything else. So overall, comfort and fit, I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5. I think it's a really good shoe. Before we go on to durability, I'd just like to remind you that these normally are around about £75 on most sites, but Reebok are always on discount somewhere. You can even get a 20% discount if you sign up for the mailing list. So you can always get these shoes discounted. I got these at less than £50. So you can get them out there and you can find them quite cheap. And because of that, I really do think this makes a good value shoe. Now let's look at durability. Like any shoe, no matter how much money you spend, whether it's a little bit or a lot, you want a shoe that will last and a shoe that will do the job. So the durability on these, as I say, 60 miles in and it's looking good at the moment, and their predecessors, the 4 and the 3, I have had over 500 miles in those shoes and they've been going strong, and I've just rotated them out because I've got newer shoes. There's nothing wrong with them, kept on using them as everyday shoes. But the durability, no wear to the upper so far, no wear on the heel, because sometimes this starts wearing out as you're taking them on and off. So there's no wear on the top. And the outsole, which is a rubber outsole, as you can see, absolute no pattern wear whatsoever. So even on a budget shoe, you are looking for that durability and making sure they'll last and you get your money's worth out of them. For this, it's ticking all the boxes. And again, on durability so far, I'm going to give this 4 out of 5. Thirdly, we're looking at performance. Now, some would say performance is irrelevant for a shoe, because no matter if you pay for a £10 shoe or a £300 shoe, is it not you as the organic human bit that goes into the shoe that affects the performance? The more you put in, the more you get out, it could be said. All I can say is this particular shoe I have used on interval sessions, I've used on the track, I've used out on the road, I've used on long runs, I've used on tempo runs, used on fast, slow, you name it, I've used it. And the shoe has responded well to all those. Now, even getting up to some quite fast, for me, 6-minute interval paces, which, as I say, for me, is quite fast. And they've performed. They've got up to speed, they've held the road, the traction's been good, no slipping when you've been out there on the run. For a budget shoe, I think this has performed very well indeed. I'm going to give it 4.5 out of 5 for its performance levels. But as I say, it's probably not a marathon running shoe. I'm not saying you can't run marathon distance in it, but if you're looking for a fast time, I don't think it's going to be the shoe for you. But it is a good all-round performance shoe, a good versatile everyday trainer, especially for somebody who's starting out, when you haven't got the big money to invest in a kit. For less than £50, you cannot go wrong with this. It's the Reebok Floatride Energy 5. Is it the best value everyday budget shoe? I don't know, but it's definitely in contention. Go and check it out. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button now. And if you want to know how my big marathons have been going, just have a look up here and see how I did in Boston last year.